Hey guys, the Langbanger here. This is video 1 of 4 on my wish list for the March 1st, 2013 ban list. Now, we may not get all of these cards, but if we can get a handful of them, I'm happy. So, as I said, there's going to be 4 videos, and I'm going to go over each section of the ban list in a separate video. Today, unrestricted. Cards at 3 per deck. Advanced format. Let's go. First card I wanted to go over is Summoner Monk. Now, it is a really powerful card, but let's look at the facts here. Now, Summoner Monk, cool. You can pitch a spell, grab itself. Pitch a spell again, grab itself. So you have 3 level 4s on the board, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Your opponent could have Effect Veiler. Your opponent could have Max C. Your opponent could wait until you combo out and then play Solemn Warning, Bottomless Trap Hole, whatever. I feel like this would bring a little fun to the game. This card I wasn't like too sure about because there may be some sort of OTKs or combos or something like that in the OCG that I'm not aware of, but I think that Summoner Monk at 3 would be fun. Maybe give it a trial run, and you know what I mean by that is 6 months. Let's see what Summoner Monk can do at 3, because it's certainly not doing anything at 2 right now. So you know, I feel like with it getting an extra copy, that's really not going to change things. I mean, let your opponent use up resources and pretty much punish them because of it. So that's kind of what I think on that. The next card, Pot of Duality. The card recently went to 2 per deck. I would like to see it back at 3. Now, this is one of those cards to where I want you to look at my entire ban list. So please watch all 4 videos whenever they are out. Because when I look at Pot of Duality, I think to myself, this card is only as good as the cards you can grab. Now, the reason I said to watch all of the videos, you don't know precisely what would be around. So some people may be raging, you know, throwing their deck box across the room right now. Well, you know, there's not that many good cards that you can grab off of Pot of Duality. Underneath my list, that is. So you have cards like Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Pot of Avarice, possibly, you know, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, stuff like that. But, you know, let's say your opponent plays Pot of Duality, reveals 3 monsters. I mean, that's pretty much fine with me because, you know, they're not going to be able to special summon and, you know, so on and so forth. So I see the card as perfectly healthy. If it doesn't go to 3, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm just stating I could see the card going back to 3. The next card is Mirror Force. Now, this card recently went up to 2 cards per deck. Now, this is where I may start to get a lot of hate the rest of this video, I should say. I have 3 cards total I wanted to go over. Mirror Force, one of them. Now, I feel like Mirror Force is one of those cards to where it's far healthier than a card like Dark Hole. And why is it? Because you have to set Mirror Force for a turn. And then, if your opponent attacks, well, it's their fault. Nice summing up there. But, you know, if your opponent just plays, let's say, Dark Hole, because, you know, they rip the Dark Hole, and then they can still play stuff right after that. So that's kind of how I see Mirror Force, as well as Torrential Tribute. I also have Torrential Tribute at 3. Now, hear me out. If we don't get Mirror Force and Torrential at 3, I would like to see one of the 2 at 3, because I feel like eventually both of these cards will go to 3, because the way I look at it, they're both healthy cards, and more than likely, if your opponent is getting more than a 1-for-1 trade-off off these cards, that means you're overcommitting to the field, you're doing stuff you probably shouldn't be doing, stuff that you don't have to, and you know, that's just my mindset on that. So let me know what you guys think of that. And the last card I wanted to go over is the Transmigration Prophecy. Now, to my understanding, this card is at 1 because if there was multiples, you would never be able to deck out. Well, I don't really see that as a bad thing. I'm looking at the flip side, the positive side of Transmigration Prophecy, and it's a really good chainable to a lot of cards in the game. I mean, you do have something like Crevice, but that only hits monsters and of the same attribute or type, I forget which one. But the Transmigration Prophecy, if your opponent wants to use like a spell or trap in their graveyard somehow, recycle it, cool, play Transmigration. You know, I just think of this card as really healthy. You have to set it down for a turn, and it can just, jack up some plays, and I just think of it as healthy. If it doesn't go to 3, I would at least like to see it go to 2, and then after it goes to 2, I'm sure everyone's going to agree that it can certainly go to 3. If the only reason of this card being at 1 is because you have like an infinite loop where you don't deck out, that's not good reasoning at all, because that's not going to be something that people are going to care about. That's not going to be something that people are going to build a deck around. So I just see that as perfectly fine. So let me know what you guys think of my choices down below in the description. Leave a comment, leave a like on the video. What cards do you agree with? What cards do you think I should have hit? What cards do you think I shouldn't have hit? And so on and so forth. Stay tuned for the semi-restricted list. I should have that up probably tomorrow or the day after that. Thanks guys for watching, and have a good day.